get ready because we're diving deep into the world of sales psychology with this fascinating sales training document called Viper Sales.
I love this one.
Yeah, think of it like a
It's good.
playbook for turning conversations
It is.
into conversions.
Yeah, and it's not just about closing deals.
Right.
It's really about the psychology behind persuasion,
Yeah.
which I find really interesting.
It does get pretty deep.
It does.
Like, we're going to unpack some surprising tactics from Viper Sales today.
Yeah.
And hopefully you'll walk away with some valuable insights, whether you're in sales or not.
Yeah. There's a lot to learn here,
Yeah.
even outside the realm of sales, for sure.
So let's start with what happens before the sales call even begins.
Okay.
Viper Sales emphasizes the importance of pre-call rituals.
Uh-huh.
I was expecting something like power poses or motivational speeches.
Yeah,
This guy takes a different approach.
it does.
What do they say? So instead of focusing on hyping yourself up,
Okay.
it recommends dialing the moment the clock strikes the appointed time
Wow.
for maximum psychological impact.
Really?
Yes.
So what's the thinking behind that? Is it about catching the prospect off guard?
It's more about establishing a sense of control and punctuality right from the very beginning.
Okay.
It sets the tone for the whole interaction.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's like a subtle way of asserting dominance without being overtly aggressive.
Exactly.
Interesting.
But it's not just about control.
Okay.
Viper Sales also stresses the importance of something they call accurate diagnosis.
Accurate diagnosis.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So
Tell me more.
it's about prioritizing a deep understanding of the prospect needs over simply pushing for a yes.
Right.
The idea is that by truly understanding the problem, you're better equipped to offer a solution that
Makes sense.
genuinely fits.
It's about building trust and rapport by demonstrating that you're genuinely invested in helping the prospect.
Precisely.
Not
It's a more consultative approach to sales
right.
rather than a high-pressure one.
And I imagine that leads to more sustainable relationships in the long run.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Building trust and rapport is crucial for any successful salesperson.
Right.
And that starts with truly understanding the prospect's needs.
Yeah. So once you've done your accurate diagnosis and the call begins, what's next?
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's time for the big pitch.
Not quite yet.
Okay.
Viper Sales emphasizes the importance of a warm-up phase
Okay.
before diving into the details of the product or
I
service.
got it.
They use this analogy of taking them to dinner first.
Taking them to dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm really curious. What does that even mean in the context of a sales call? Are we talking virtual wine and cheese?
Not exactly.
Okay.
It's about building rapport through casual conversation,
Okay.
asking about their interests,
Sure.
finding common ground, those sorts of things.
So it's like breaking the ice before getting down to business.
Exactly.
But why is this warm-up phase so important? Isn't it just a waste of time?
It might seem that way.
Yeah.
But this small talk serves a few key purposes.
Okay.
First, it helps to humanize the interaction.
Right.
You're not just a salesperson pushing a product.
Yeah.
You're a person connecting with another person.
Makes sense.
There.
People are more likely to buy from someone they feel a connection with.
Exactly.
Right.
And second, this seemingly casual conversation allows you to subtly establish control. You're setting the tone and pace of the interaction.
I see. So it's strategic.
Precise.
It's about building rapport while also guiding the conversation
Exactly.
in a direction that benefits you.
And once you've established that rapport,
Okay.
Viper Sales stresses the importance of transparency right from the start.
Good.
You clearly outline how the call will proceed, what you'll discuss,
Yeah.
and the potential outcomes.
That's a great point. Setting expectations up front is crucial in any interaction. Not just sales calls. It builds trust and avoids surprises down the line.
It shows respect for the prospect's time and helps to create a more collaborative atmosphere.
Okay, so we've covered pre-call rituals and the warm-up.
Yes.
Now I'm ready for the juicy stuff.
Okay.
How does Viper Sales suggest uncovering those deep-seated needs and motivations
Okay.
that will ultimately lead to a sale?
That's where the next stage comes in, uncovering the pain points.
Okay.
This is where you really start digging deep, using carefully crafted questions
Okay, I'm all ears.
to reveal what the prospect is struggling with.
What kind of questions are we talking about here?
They suggest asking things like,
Yeah.
what's the motivating factor behind you booking this call? Or How long have you been dealing with this problem?
Mm-hmm.
Questions that get the prospect talking about their challenges and frustrations.
So it's about getting them to articulate their pain points, right?
Yeah,
But I can see how this could easily veer into manipulative territory if not done carefully.
you're right. It's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
And Viper Sales emphasizes that this isn't about manipulation.
Oh.
It's about genuine understanding.
Sure.
The goal is to truly grasp their problem so you can offer a solution that actually fits their needs.
So it's about empathy, not exploitation.
Exactly.
You're trying to understand their perspective so you can genuinely help them.
It's about building a relationship based on trust and mutual understanding,
Right.
not just closing a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not trying to take advantage of their vulnerability. You're
Mm.
trying to understand it so you can offer a solution that
Right.
genuinely makes their life better.
That makes sense because ultimately a successful sale should be a win-win situation, right?
Exactly.
Both the salesperson and the customer should feel good about the transaction.
It's about finding the right fit, not just pushing a product for the sake of a commission.
Okay, so we've uncovered the pain points. What's next in the Viper sales playbook?
Now it's time to amplify the desire.
Amplify the desire.
This is where you help the prospect visualize their ideal future, a future where their pain points are resolved.
So you're painting a picture of what life could be like if they invest in your product or service.
Exactly.
Okay.
And a key part of this stage is getting specific, especially when it comes to income goals.
Okay.
The salesperson is instructed to ask questions like, how much do you want to be making in the next 12 months?
Interesting. So you're not just talking about vague improvements, you're pushing them to quantify their aspirations.
Exactly.
Why is that so important?
It's about making the goal tangible and real from a psychological perspective.
Yeah,
Concrete goals are far more motivating and actionable.
I see. It's like the difference between saying, I want to be healthier and saying, I want to lose 10 pounds.
Yes.
The second one is much more specific and measurable,
Right.
which makes it easier to track progress and stay motivated.
Precisely. And this principle applies to all sorts of goals, not just financial ones.
So this amplify the desire stage is really about connecting the solution you're offering to the prospect's deepest aspirations.
Exactly.
It's about showing them how your product or service can help them achieve their dreams.
It's about transforming a want into a need.
Okay, so we've established rapport, uncovered pain points, and amplified desire. What happens next in the Viper sales method?
Okay.
Is it finally time for the close?
Not so fast.
Okay.
There's one more step before you go for the close,
All right.
and it's a surprising one.
What is it?
After outlining the service,
Yeah.
Viper Sales instructs the salesperson to simply shut up
Shut up.
and let the prospect process.
Seriously?
Yes,
That seems counterintuitive.
it does.
Wouldn't you want to keep the conversation flowing, keep the momentum going?
It might seem that way, but there's actually a powerful psychological principle at play here.
Okay.
Silence can be incredibly persuasive.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Explain the silence.
So by resisting the urge to over-explain
Okay.
or fill the void,
Yeah.
you create space for the prospect to contemplate what they've just heard.
Right.
This silence allows them to internalize the information,
Uh-huh.
weigh the pros and cons,
Right.
and ultimately increase their buy-in.
So it's about giving them the space to come to their own conclusions
Yes.
rather than bombarding them with information.
It's about letting the seed you've planted take root.
That makes sense. It's like when you're trying to convince a friend to watch your favorite movie.
Yeah,
Sometimes the best approach is to just say, trust me, you'll love it, and leave it at that.
right.
If you try to oversell it, you might actually turn them off.
That's a great analogy. Sometimes less is more.
Okay. So we've had our strategic moment of silence. What comes next?
Now it's time to introduce what Viper Sales calls incentive pricing.
Incentive pricing. That sounds intriguing. Tell me more.
Essentially, it's about offering a special discount or bonus for those who make a decision right then and there.
So you're creating a sense of urgency, a limited time offer that encourages them to act now rather than later.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a classic persuasion technique that plays on our fear of missing out.
And it's effective because it introduces a tangible benefit to acting immediately.
Right.
It's not just about avoiding a potential loss.
Right.
It's about gaining something extra.
Precisely. It sweetens the deal and makes it harder to say no.
Okay, so we've planted the seed, given it space to grow, and sweetened the deal with an incentive.
Yes.
Now are we finally ready for the close?
We're getting closer.
Okay.
But there's one more crucial element of the Viper Sales method that we need to discuss.
Which is?
Objection handling.
Ah, yes, the inevitable objections.
Okay.
Because no matter how persuasive your pitch, there's always going to be some pushback, some hesitation.
Of course.
How does Viper Sales suggest navigating those tricky buts and what-ifs?
They dedicate a significant portion of the guide to objection handling,
Okay.
outlining common pushbacks and providing specific scripts for addressing them.
Got it.
And some of these responses are quite bold, even assertive.
Okay, give me an example. What's a common objection, and how does Viper Sales suggest handling it?
Well, one frequent objection is the classic, I need to think about it.
Oh, yeah, the old stall tactic.
Yeah,
We've all been there on both sides of the conversation.
exactly.
What's the Viper move in that situation?
Instead of letting the prospect off the hook,
Okay.
they advise pushing back with, great, I encourage thinking, but what specifically haven't we discussed that you need to consider?
So you're not letting them get away with a vague excuse.
Right.
You're forcing them to articulate their hesitation so you can address it directly.
Exactly. It's about bringing the objection out into the open and turning it into an opportunity for further dialogue.
That's smart. It
Yeah.
shows that you're not afraid of their concerns and that you're confident in your ability to address them.
Precisely. And it keeps the conversation moving forward rather than letting it stall out.
Okay, what about another common objection? How about the I'm too busy excuse?
Okay.
Everyone's busy these days.
For time-related objections, Viper Sales recommends acknowledging their constraint, but then suggesting, is there something we can talk about now to eliminate the worry in your mind?
So you're acknowledging their time constraint, but also trying to find a way to move forward?
Yeah.
Even if it's just addressing a specific concern or answering a key question?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about finding a compromise that respects their time while also keeping the sales process moving.
Yeah.
It shows you're willing to be flexible.
Right, and if you truly can't overcome the time objection at that moment.
Then Viper Sales is adamant about scheduling another call within 24 hours.
Okay.
They even suggest adding the prospect on social media
Wow.
and sending a reminder 15 minutes before the call.
Wow, that's persistent.
Maintaining that momentum is key.
It seems like they really emphasize staying top of mind.
Absolutely. Now let's tackle the dreaded I can't afford it objection.
Okay.
This one's a classic.
It is.
And Viper Sales offers a rather bold approach.
I'm all ears. What's their strategy for dealing with budget concerns?
So instead of shying away from the issue,
Okay.
they suggest saying something like,
Hmm.
I understand that, but remember when you invested in,
Okay.
and you insert a relevant past investment the prospect made.
Okay.
You were nervous then too, but you knew you couldn't afford not to do it.
So you're drawing a parallel to a previous experience where they took a leap of faith and it paid off.
Exactly.
It's about reminding them that sometimes the best investments are the ones that stretch us beyond our comfort zones.
And then you bring it back to their current situation,
Okay.
emphasizing the cost of inaction.
Right.
You scheduled this call because you need to, and then insert their stated goal. So how can you afford not to move forward?
It's a powerful reframing. You're shifting the focus from the upfront cost to the potential long-term gains and the
Agreed.
consequences of staying stuck.
Precisely. It's about helping them see the bigger picture.
What if they claim they need to wait till they have more money?
Viper Sales suggests challenging that logic.
Okay.
They recommend pointing out that if they continue doing the same things, they're unlikely to magically acquire that extra money.
Right.
They need to take action to change their circumstances.
It's about disrupting their complacency and highlighting the futility of inaction.
Exactly.
It's like that saying, if you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you're getting.
Exactly. It's a call to action, a nudge to step outside their comfort zone and make a change.
Now, there's one more objection we haven't touched on.
Great.
I need to talk to my partner.
Okay.
How does Viper Sales suggest navigating that one?
Their response is surprisingly direct.
What do they say?
Great. Let's get them on the phone now.
Wow, they really don't waste any time.
I know, right?
But what if the partner isn't available or comfortable being brought into the conversation so suddenly?
The guide does acknowledge that it might not always be possible to get the partner on the call immediately.
Right.
In those cases, they advise scheduling another call within 24 hours,
Okay.
with the partner included, of course.
So again, it's about maintaining momentum, not letting the conversation fizzle out.
Exactly. Viper Sales is all about seizing opportunities and keeping the prospect engaged.
Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into the Viper Sales method, I'm struck by the assertiveness, even aggressiveness, of many of these techniques. It's certainly a high-pressure approach to sales.
It is, and while it can be effective,
Yeah.
it's important to use these techniques ethically and responsibly.
Right.
It's about finding the right balance between persuasion and manipulation.
That's a great point, because ultimately the goal should be to build a relationship based on trust and mutual benefit,
Absolutely.
not just close a deal at any cost.
It's about creating a win-win situation where both the salesperson and the customer feel good about the transaction.
So, as we conclude our deep dive into the art of the sales call,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with a final thought.
Okay.
Think about the last time you were persuaded to buy something.
Hmm.
Did any of these techniques come into play?
Interesting.
And how did it make you feel?
Yeah, it's an interesting question to reflect on because understanding the psychology of persuasion can help us become more discerning consumers
Right.
and more ethical practitioners, whether we're in sales or any other field that involves influencing others.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.